Having great focus and concentration is arguably one of the most important skills you could ever have, but yet we're never actually taught how to do it, and there's a lot of pieces that most people miss. By improving on these small things, you'll skyrocket your ability to concentrate and put yourself way ahead of all the other people who are bumbling around like a buffoon half the time. So let's learn how to optimize your focus and concentration based on hard scientific evidence and countless podcasts, books, and articles that I've learned from. I'll be covering the 5 most important areas where people make mistakes and break each one down into specifics to give you actionable insights to improve your focus that you can use right now. And I'll be covering them from the example of working at a computer, because that's the most common place that people need to focus, but this also applies to other activities. First up is music and sound. You should take every possibility to block out distracting sounds from your environment. The easiest way to do this is with noise-canceling headphones, but those can get a bit pricey, so a cheaper option is to buy earplugs and use those. You can put normal headphones over earplugs, or if you really want to go hardcore, you can put noise-canceling headphones over your earplugs. I actually do this pretty regularly, and what I'll say about it is this. You know how sometimes people use the expression, "It was so loud I couldn't hear myself think"? Noise-canceling headphones over earplugs is like the opposite of that. It's so quiet you can hear yourself think. It's actually kind of unreal. But what should you listen to? The best thing to listen to is binaural beats. If you don't know, these are sounds where the frequency in one ear is different than the frequency in the other ear. And this difference is supposed to help align your brain and help you focus, but there is research to back this up. This paper from Engelbrecht et al. Found that 40 Hz binaural beats improved attention, and other research like this paper from Ross et al. Has backed up the claim that 40 Hz binaural beats seem to be the most effective for memory and attention. So 40 Hz binaural beats is the way to go. The second best thing you can listen to is music without lyrics. Our brains are automatically drawn to lyrics, and this steals focus and attention away from the task at hand. This next tip might be controversial, but if you are listening to music, it's best to listen to one song on repeat. This is actually used by a lot of famous writers like Tim Ferriss, Ryan Holiday, and Neil Strauss. And the idea behind it is that when you listen to one song on repeat, eventually your brain becomes very familiar with it. And once that happens, it sort of draws away the monkey mind, which is just listening to the music and enjoying it, but it leaves the rest of your focus and attention to go directly towards whatever you're working on. You get into almost a flow with the music and you stop being distracted by it and just roll with it. 2 of my favorites right now are Intro by the XX and The Egg by Kurzgesagt, which is that YouTube channel that has like all the cool animations. They also have music that you can just listen to on Spotify. I didn't know that. It's awesome. Lastly, choose your music in conjunction with the amount of energy you need. If you're wired on caffeine, you're already in a very high energy state, so you can go with something slower like classical. But if you just woke up and you're feeling really tired, then go with something a little bit more high energy like the Tron Legacy soundtrack. Let's talk about hands. One of the biggest mistakes that I see, and I'm super guilty of this too, is people getting distracted by touching and grabbing things. People will play with their pencils, pop their chapstick lid, touch your face, touch your hair, things like that. But every time you do this, it's a little micro distraction that pulls you away from your work and makes it so that you'll have to refocus seconds later. So place your hands on your keyboard and keep them there. Don't let them wander and grab things. If you're like me, this is going to be really difficult at first, but it gets easier the more you do it, and it will save you a ton of time in the long run. And the same thing goes with eyes. Try not to let them wander and look at all the distracting stuff in your peripheries. That's also a good tip for if you're talking to someone, like, give them your full attention. Don't wander and look at other stuff. Monitor height. Science has shown that when we look down, our neurons trigger calmness and sleep. But when we look up, they trigger the activation of alertness. What this means for us is that you want your monitor height to be at eye level or even a little bit above. If you need, you can use books to prop up your monitor. Field of view is the next piece. You can narrow your field of view by wearing a hoodie or a cap. A narrow field of view helps focus your brain's attention on what's in front of you because you're not wasting extra resources scanning the peripheries. Interesting side story, about a year ago I created these glasses that had all of the sides blocked off so I could only see what was directly in front of me. They looked super goofy, but they really did help. However, there is some science that says that a narrow field of view is best for analytical work, but it isn't very good for creative work. So keep that in mind and maybe try it out, see what works best for you. Next up is distractions, and we'll split it into on-computer distractions and off-computer distractions. On-computer distractions have 3 main components. The first is the new tab page. This should not be the Google default where it recommends other pages for you to click, and it should not be a news site. You're opening up a new tab dozens of times every single day, and every time you do that, it's a chance for you to click to some site that you shouldn't be on. Don't give yourself that opportunity. Instead, I use this extension called Momentum. It's completely free and it gives you this nice new tab page with a beautiful picture. 2 is social media sites. While you're working, you're probably going to end up on Facebook or YouTube or Reddit, whether intentionally or unintentionally. Personally, I use the extension Newsfeed Eradicator, which gets rid of the feeds of all of these social media sites and then it replaces it with a cool inspirational quote. 3 is notifications on your computer. Turn all of these off unless they are really urgent. On both Mac and PC, you can now schedule Do Not Disturb to be on during certain hours. Off computer distractions. The biggest one is your phone. Put it on Do Not Disturb and put it away somewhere else where you won't be tempted to grab it. Whenever you're working, you do not get to go on your phone. That's the rule. I actually heard once that Stanford professor Andrew Huberman has said he occasionally will throw his phone on his roof when he's getting really distracted by it but needs to focus, which I thought was pretty funny. The second is other people. This one is a little bit harder to manage, but one tip is that you can use a Do Not Disturb sign on your door. But the bigger thing here is understanding that you need to stick up for yourself. And if someone interrupts you while you're busy, it's perfectly okay to tell them that you're busy and to ask them to come back later. Also, the more you do this, the more people understand that you really respect your working time and they'll just stop interrupting you. The last meta tip that brings all of this stuff together is this. Every single one of these things I talked about is a habit, and the more you practice it, the better you'll get at it, and the easier it will become. The more you choose to listen to binaural beats instead of music with lyrics, even though music with lyrics is more fun, the easier the habit of listening to binaural beats becomes the next time you need to. Remember, greatness is earned every day.